Hello kids and welcome to another of Emma's Snippets. Now today we're going to talk about the difference between opinions, beliefs, values and core values. Now in some ways these ladder up. So its opinions are kind of the most high level and core values are the deepest. But that's not to say they're necessarily linear. It's not like an iceberg. It's not like there's a point where I can say to you, these are subconscious and these are conscious, or these are below the surface. These you're not aware of, these you are, because there is an element of that to each piece, okay? Each piece has that element. But it is easier to consider them as opinions, beliefs, values, core values. Okay, so let's start with opinions. Opinions are your outlook. Opinions are what you think and what you view and how you see the world based on your beliefs. Often, they're not yours. You think they are, but they're not, because we believe we see the world and the world gives us our views because we see what's going on and we base our opinion on what we've witnessed. Actually, it's not true. Often it's the opposite. Often our opinions impact what we see. And we call this confirmation bias because what you do is you collect evidence that backs up your belief system. And the thing with opinions is often we can inherit them. So we think they're ours. Like, I feel quite strongly about this. But some things, especially the really weighty subjects, some things, when you ask somebody, why do you think that? They're like, because it is. And you're like, because it is? Why? And they're like, well, it just is. So often opinions are baseless, but they, if anything, are based on your belief system. So beliefs are the layer below that. They're not just your reaction. They're not just your mental chatter. They're not just kind of an automatic yay or nay on a subject. Your beliefs are more constructed. It might be beliefs like religion and things like that, but it'll also be ideas around, say, being brought up, your family say to you things like money doesn't grow on trees, or you have to work hard to get far, or education is everything. These sort of things, they go into your belief system, so you grow up believing that these things are important. If I don't have X, I can't have Y. And your belief system, again, impacts how you see the world. It impacts on your opinions, and it impacts on what you see, it impacts on how you relate to other people, and it impacts on how you connect with people. But your belief systems are constructed, okay? Below that, you've got your values. Now, values at this level, again, are often inherited. So you've got social values, be kind, be generous, work hard. You've got your family values. They're things that people around you have put on you and you've accepted as the way things should be and the way you should behave. In business, we have business values. They're not your personal values, but they might be or should be aligned to your personal values. And they might be things like provide service, support your staff, think of people as equal, this sort of thing, right? Could be the absolute opposite. It could be take over the world, make as much money as you can, etc. In fact, those things aren't mutually exclusive. I don't even know why I came up with that example, but you see my point. Values tend to be inherited. Now, a lot of people think that values are their core values, i.e. what drives them at their deepest, who they are underneath it all, but they're not. They're not. They're the ones that we have learnt from society, we have learnt from our parents and our upbringers, or whatever you want to call them, guardians. We have learnt from our network, we have learnt from school, we have learnt from our religions. We have all of these things that have been put on us that we've absorbed as, this is how a person behaves, therefore those are my values. The one below that, the ones we're really interested with, especially if you're doing work with me on my mini program at the moment, Who Am I This Year, the deepest ones are your core values. Now, these are the things that really drive you. These are the things that at your core, at your base, you need to exist in every scenario, in every relationship, ethically, in work, in play, everywhere, for you to be content. And if you live outside of those, that's where you get the rub. Now, the problem with core values, and the reason a lot of people struggle with them, is they're not always pretty, okay? Because they are who you are when we strip away all the social niceties. So your core values might be ugly, or you might be ashamed of them or embarrassed of them or push them aside. Personal example, right? This is not my main core values, but one of my core values is financial security, wealth. Okay, it's a driver for me. And I was ashamed to admit that, because in my head, I couldn't be a good coach. I couldn't provide good service. I couldn't be about people. I couldn't care about the world. I couldn't want to do good things and want to make money. In my head, those things conflicted. But the truth of the matter was, until I accepted that I want to make money, that money is important to me because it provides me an element of safety and then an element of fun and enjoyment that I need to be content, I was like this in my business. And it's in everything, okay? Your core values is in everything. You need to see it in other people, and you need other people to see it in you. You need to see it in your work. You need to see it in your day-to-day. They could be brilliant, they could be lovely, but they are who you are deep, deep down. And they're not easy to get to the bottom of. They take quite a lot of work. It's very difficult to just sit there and go, okay, yes, there's probably kindness, love, and connection. It may not be. It may not be, okay? So give it some thought. There's loads of work to do about this. There's loads on the internet about it. There's loads of people like me you can talk about it with. You can just talk about it with your mates. You can journal it. You can think however you want. But they're worth figuring out, because your core values impact your values. Because if you think who you are at your core and then who you've been brought up to be by society, if they're not aligned, there's some uncomfortable feelings there. And that's where the shame comes in, and that I'm not enough, I'm too much. That's where that comes in. And then that impacts on your belief system. You know, this is what's important. So therefore, this is how you should behave. This is how people should treat each other. This is how the world should work. Then that impacts on your opinions. You know, these people are wrong for this. These people are right for this. This is how this should be. And some people feel very strongly about these things. There's a laddering there. And if you understand the core, the rest of it makes sense. And also, if you understand the core, you can question the rest of it and tweak them if they don't suit you and you sit in misalignment. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of information on those four things. Opinions, beliefs, values, and core values. Give it some thought. If you've enjoyed this and you want to explore it more, give me a shout. I love this stuff. Can talk about it for hours. Do have a workbook style session that we can do together if it's something you wanted to explore further. Hope you're all good. That's it for today. Snippy out. Bye, kids.